Pillars of Pentegarn, an endless quest book. I'll do it, you say. I'll show you a shortcut to the pillars, Fox volunteers. Allow me to ride on your shoulders, Jamie, Owl says, and I too shall accompany you. You hold out your arm, and Owl climbs up to your shoulder. Following Fox, you then enter the forest. After 20 minutes, you come to a tall stand of ash trees. Brambles and briars grow entwined around the base of the tall, gnarled trees. You push your way through and see that the forest stops at your feet. The ground in front of you is a sickly burnt gray. Several large pillars rise like thick white fingers from the blackened earth. Their tops are broken and jagged, and huge pieces lie strewn about the clearing. An opening gapes near the base of the pillars, like a massive tooth in a jack-o'-lantern. You see 3 sets of footprints leading into the opening. As you peer into that opening, a squeal breaks from the forest, and you turn to see the goblins racing from the tangles. Choking back your fear, you duck under the pillars and into the darkness. Glancing back, you see the goblins hard on your heels. With the goblin cries echoing in the passage, you run as fast as you can, even though you have trouble seeing. Luckily, your long legs outdistance the goblins as you race down the corridor, but your breath soon rasps in your throat. You cannot last much longer without rest. As you round the corner, a crumbling staircase rises upward into the darkness. The passage splits at the bottom and leads both left and right. You lean against the staircase and try to catch your breath. Pressing your fingers against the stone wall, you feel ancient stone carvings under your hands. The cries of the goblins draw ever closer. Well, Featherhead, pants the fox, got any hot ideas now? It is my astute opinion that... Ah! The carving moves under your fingers, and a section of the staircase opens without warning. You fall backward into darkness. Hey, Fox cries, wait for me. He slips through the opening. The wall quickly snicks shut, and darkness then closes around you. The dark is thicker and more complete than any you have ever known. Goblin pound up the stairway you are hiding under, and then there is a long silence. Finally, Fox says, I don't know how to tell you this, but we're not alone. That is correct, a deep voice says. Who's there? You demand, trying to sound brave. In answer, a burst of light fills the room, and a wrinkled old man leans on a staff in front of you. He seems more ancient and frail than anyone you have ever seen. A bright torch-like light leaps from his staff. A young fighter stands on the old man's right, pointing his sword at you. His battle-scarred armor and bulging muscles tell you that he is not someone to anger. A beautiful elven maiden stands on the left. Bright red hair hangs to her waist. She wears carefully tailored leather armor, and her hand rests on polished dagger handles. She watches you intently with bright green eyes. Oh boy, mutters Fox. We're in for it now. Patience, Fox, Owl says. I have found hasty judgment often leads to disaster. I can't think of anything more disastrous than dying, he answers. Fox, Owl, cries the old man in a papery dry voice. Do not waste your strength arguing with each other. Neither the fighter Baltic nor the elven thief Lydia will harm you. You stare in amazement as Fox and Owl stop arguing and walk across the floor toward the old man. They understood the old man, and he understood them. Surprised, child, he asks. Don't be. Much like you, I can speak with the animals, and so can those with me. He pauses, and you back away from him. Do not worry, Jamie, he continues. I am not one to fear. Come, sit beside me. I shall tell you and your friends everything you need to know. He holds out his hand. His eyes are kindly and quite intelligent, and hold all the strength his body lacks. Without a word, you cross the small space between you and clasp the waiting hand. Fixing his gentle yet powerful gaze on you, he begins. Although it seems unlikely, this was once a beautiful place. There were no goblins, no monsters. and no death, no destruction. The fields were quite fertile, the people were prosperous and happy, and blessed my name, the name of King Pentegarn. Although I was a wise and good king, I could not do it alone. I was aided by my magical staff. It was given to me by my father, who had received it from his, and his from his, and so on and so. It contains the magic and knowledge of all of these lifetimes. Unfortunately, in the hands of evil, it can be used with terrible results, as you see by this foul ruin. One night as I slept, a black fog covered my kingdom. By the time we discovered it was a magical fog, it was too late. It had cloaked the coming of an evil one. In the darkness of the magic fog, the evil master crept into my castle and stole my staff. When the sun rose, it could not pierce this black gloom, and most of my people fled in fear. Those who stayed to fight were killed by the black cloud. I fought desperately, but without my staff, I was all but helpless. At last, I neared total exhaustion. All about me was ruin, and I was forced to leave my own kingdom. Though I was too weak to battle my unseen foe any longer, I vowed I would return. Year after year, I have returned, seeking to defeat this evil one, and regain what is rightfully mine. This is my last attempt. The staff holds much of my strength, and without it, I grow ever and ever weaker. Yet if I die, there will be nothing to stop the enemy. He pauses. It must be stopped now, and you must help me. The old man stares intensely at each of you. As his eyes lock upon yours, you feel deeply drawn to him. His mission does become yours. You believe, as the old man does, that you can, that you must succeed. Pentegarn continues. The master, as it calls itself, usually remains in the central tower. Between us and the tower are many halls, many caverns, and many passageways. They will be guarded by the bands of goblins and skeletons, all whom serve the evil one. Although there are few ways to defeat him, I have a plan. A cube of force and a ring of spell-turning lie hidden in the depths of the dungeon beneath the castle. I do not believe the master possesses them. If we can receive these, we stand an excellent chance of success. I don't agree with you, says the elf. Wouldn't it be better to sneak straight through? We can avoid discovery as well as fighting, and perhaps pick up some treasure along the way. I'm more in favor of a direct approach, says the fighter. I suggest we move slowly from one area to the next, fighting when necessary. The old man fastens his gaze upon you. And you, little one, he asks in a soft voice, what do you think? Which of these ways would you choose? Me, you stammer? I'm just a kid. I don't know anything. Age has little to do with intelligence, replies the old man. Do not take yourself so lightly. You and your friends have much to offer. What is your choice? If you want to choose the old man's course of action, vote 1. If you wish to choose the elf's way of sneaking, choose 2. If you wish to choose the fighter's way, vote 3. And if you wish to try and find your own way, vote 4. Again, to follow the old man, vote 1. To follow the thief, vote 2. To follow the path of the fighter, vote 3. Or to try and find your own path, vote 4. Have a lovely day. See you next week.